Exploring Montana adventures on and off the beaten path. Here's Road Trippin with Laurel Staples. Sponsored by Clark Nissan and Clark Hyundai in Kalispell.
St. Patrick's Day celebrations are already underway in Butte tonight, but it's much more than a big party. In this road tripping adventure, I traveled to Butte with my husband, Chris Line, to explore the city's rich Irish history and heritage.
Really? Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, too.
After getting a wee bit of help putting on my green, it's Butte bound, where Irish roots run deep. Our first stop, St. Patrick's Cemetery, recently restored. The cemetery dates back to the late 1800s.
Hey, good morning, you two.
Local historians Chris Fisk and Jim McCarthy show us around.
You'll notice as we walk around, there's a lot of Irish names on these headstones. They call it the RELA, gravesite, Robert Emmet Literary Association. This wasn't a bunch of Irishmen that read books. They were kind of a militant organization.
Laying at rest here is 38 different men. And when you read this memorial and you learn about the history of the Robert Emmet Literary Association, it truly does sound like a book club. But this group was truly dedicated to the independence of Ireland.
Like Daniel Hennessy, or Hennessy's department store, he's got a mausoleum for himself and his family. My grandfather and my grandmother are buried here. You walk by, you always say a prayer when you do that. That's being raised a Catholic, that's one of the things you do. This is Butte's Prayer Rock in memorial to and in memory of that service that the Irish had in Ireland, you know, in the days when they were being persecuted so severely. So similar to that, in Butte, Jerry Sullivan picked out this rock that I think came from either Dublin Gulch or Centerville, somewhere in the Irish community, you know, back in Butte in those days. Several times we've offered a toast here to Butte's Irish past and to those from wherever they come from, a toast to their heritage and their culture and to why they're here in the first place.
From the cemetery, we take Montana Street to Uptown Butte for a stop on Park Street.
1892, this is Curtis Music Hall. And if you look at where it says Curtis Music Hall, you're going to see the Shamrocks, and definitely a targeted group back then. You got the turnkey window sills and the incredible architecture.
Next, St. Mary's Church on Main Street, a church described as representing the heart and soul of Butte's Irish community.
Dublin Gulch and Corktown and Muckerville were all right in this area here.
Sign of that and how Butte settled out is their Catholic parishes.
St. Lawrence, St. Mary's, Immaculate Conception, St. Pat's, St. Joe's, St. John's, St. Anne's, Sacred Heart, Holy Savior.
Before leaving, we spot the Irish flag on the original mine head frame right across the street. We then stop at another church in a parish bearing the name of Ireland's patron saint, St. Patrick's Church on West Mercury.
This was my parish growing up. I guess you could be pretty proud of that because, you know, you're Irish and you're in the parish that's named after St. Patrick from Ireland.
It speaks of a culture and a history and a struggle of them coming to America, coming to Butte.
Next, Montana Tech, where visitors are greeted by a statue of Marcus Daly, an Irish immigrant who came to Butte.
Marcus Daly is a pretty influential figure in Butte. Naturally, he was one of the three Copper Kings. It was originally installed at Copper and Main Streets in Uptown Butte, up by the Federal Building. And due to the many accidents coming down the steep slope on Main Street, in 1941 they moved it, and they moved it up here to Montana Tech. My dad would sometimes say, "It's so cold out, Marcus Daly put his coat on."
The Hotel Finlen on Broadway is next, with its crystal chandeliers and copper-gilded columns, along with memorabilia of its rich history.
John F. Kennedy, when he was a senator, famous Irish Catholic president of ours, and was taken in the building. And we have a little program from a banquet from the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick held in 1939.
We also learn about its Irish beginnings.
There was another hotel on this site called the McDermott Hotel. And it was purchased by James Finlen, whose father Miles was from Ireland. In 1923, tore it down and built the Hotel Finlen that we see today on the site.
Then, a bite to eat at Slainte.
In Scottish Gaelic, Slainte pretty much just means cheers, and in Irish Gaelic, it means good health.
We dine on corned beef and cabbage sliders, a delicious twist to the traditional Irish fare. And with one last look at Butte's skyline, we say Slainte to you. If you want to watch this story again, or if you missed one of my previous stories, you can watch every Road Trippin' episode in a special segment on our website at nbcmontana.com.